The election is fast approaching, and today I'm joined by Joe Walton. He's the Libertarian candidate for Congress in the very competitive 7th District. Thanks so much for being with us today.
Yes, ma'am. Thanks for having me.
Let's just talk a little bit about your background. You were on the Powhatan County Board of Supervisors.
Correct. I moved to Powhatan. I was born and raised in Richmond and moved to Powhatan in 2003. Got involved in some of the local politics there and ran for the board in 2007 and was successful, and then ultimately served as vice chair and chair in 2010 and 11.
Okay, and so now you're running for Congress. What would be your top objectives if you're elected?
The main one I think that's most important, particularly for a member of the House of Representatives, is constituent services. So staying in touch with the district, having town halls, having a strong field staff, and really making sure that the folks throughout the district know who their representative is and feel like their representative is being responsive to their needs. Secondarily, I think is executive branch oversight. I think Representative Bratt has not, and the GOP caucus has not been as effective and as strong about executive branch oversight as they should. And the third issue is immigration, modernizing our immigration. The DACA folks putting in a legislative fix for deferred action for childhood arrivals, but also a guest worker program and a pathway to citizenship.
Okay, what would your stance be on health care? We've seen efforts to repeal the Affordable Care Act. What would you like to see happen there?
I support the bipartisan Murray-Alexander proposal in the Senate. I think that we need to continue to strengthen the Affordable Care Act. I do not support repeal and replace. I think there are a lot of major provisions in that that are very important, particularly the need for pre-existing conditions, but that we need to keep that. We need to allow folks to stay on their insurance as young folks through their 20s. And more importantly, we need to continue to work towards an economy that does not link health insurance to your employer. That limits economic mobility and limits, I think, the vibrancy of our workforce.
Okay, and I know as a libertarian, one of the platforms that you're campaigning on is limited government. What does that mean?
Limited government, so the most important or the easiest way to describe that is that the folks that work in government have good intentions, and certainly a lot of legislation oftentimes has good intentions, but what ends up happening is the individual gets lost in the shuffle. And so limited government, I think, is an important cost-effective way of making sure, limiting government is a cost-effective way of making sure that government is still responsive to the people. But importantly, government needs to be big enough, if you will, that individual liberty is still guaranteed. And so my motto is social inclusion and fiscal responsibility. And so making sure that all walks of life are welcome, feel welcome, and can be an equal part of society.
Okay, Joe Walton, thank you so much for being with us. We
Absolutely.
appreciate it. And just today, a newly released poll by Christopher Newport University's Wasson Center shows Republican Dave Bratt and Democratic challenger Abigail Spanberger running neck and neck in that 7th district. Spanberger and Bratt are statistically tied among likely voters. Libertarian Joe Walton is polling at 4% in that survey. We are speaking to all the candidates all week long. Thursday, incumbent Congressman Dave Bratt joins us live here on First at 4. And Democratic challenger Abigail Spanberger was scheduled for today, but she's under the weather, so she will be here on Friday. And you will be able to find all of our interviews on our NBC12 News app or our website. Just click on Politics.